All right, I have this here, Lotto lock. I got it off Amazon, and it says it's a Wisamic, but I think there are a number of locks that go under the same, um, under different names for the same lock. And I don't know how many wafers, but it's a wafer style lock with little nubs that stick inward from both sides, and those nubs work with this reversible key here, and basically lifts all those wafers to the proper shear line. So the tricky thing about this one is some of those nubs, they sit really low, almost like below. They're not below the bottom, otherwise this key wouldn't be able to lift them up, but they're like way down there. And if you were to pick this lock by trying to lift up on those nubs, some of those, like, you can barely get underneath them, so it's pretty tough. But instead of trying to get underneath them, what you can do is, since their wafers are all being pushed down by springs from the top, only one direction, you can lift on the actual top of the wafer like that. And in some cases, you might need to push down on the nub if you overset something, or once you get it up a little, you might want to go underneath the nub and use the nub to pick it. Now, like I said, I don't know how many wafers are in here. I didn't do enough pre-research, but it can be a little tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this wiper insert and kind of just get it on the top area of this lock. And actually, let's see if I can show that real quick. So you don't want to take up a lot of precious real estate like that. Then you won't be able to push on those front ones there. You might lift some of the ones too high because it's actually pushing up on some of the wafers when you do that. I don't know if you see that right side wafer going up and down as I do that. So what I have here is there's a little, like, it's recessed right here, and then there's like a inner part there. I don't know. So I get it in that spot right there, and I'll tension it like that right up top. That way it doesn't get in the way of anything, and it stays in pretty decent. You can, so that the tensioner doesn't pop out and whatever, you can hold it with 2 fingers, right? A lot of times people, it's a simple solution, but a lot of times people don't think. They'll push it with 1 finger and you'll keep popping out, but in reality you can just hold it like this with 2 fingers. You don't need to worry about popping out. So I'm gonna put a little bit of tension. This one seems to work good with light tension, and I just have this Jimmy Long's deep hook. You can use any hook, and I'm going to start pushing up on some of the wafers at the top. Now all the way at the back it gets stuck on something as you push up, but it's really low, so you come forward, and then that's when you encounter your first wafer here. And then I push up on it, it gave, and now it's got a little bit of springiness. So like any other lock, we're looking for the ones that that bind and push up on them. You will notice every like maybe 3 wafers or so, there is one that doesn't move at all. It's like a spacer. It's not an actual one that you pick. It's not on a spring or anything. So you can push on those until your pick bends, but they're not going anywhere. So once you get that, look for the next binder right there. Push that up. There's another binder there. Again, I don't know which one, okay, so there's one all the way up front here. I don't know which wafer I'm on. I just push on the ones that bind. And all right, I got all the way to the front, so let's go back to the back again. And once you get all the ones that you can push up on, it gets a little, I don't know exactly what holds me up, but it gets a little tricky now. So what I find is I'll take the back of the pick and I might just push down kind of a little bit randomly on the wafers here on the right side and left side nubs, and then I'll go through and I'll try again. I didn't reset them. I'm just pushing them in case any of them are slightly overset. So I didn't let off tension to do that or anything like that. And another thing is that these wafers, they pop out of the slot, and you might see them diagonal in the keyway. So whereas the keyway is turned, you'll see that the wafers are still up and down. In that case, I'll kind of lift up with the wafer and I'll push it to the left side or the right side to get it back into where it needs to be. Happens with this front one, I notice, and then one that's a little bit back. So you get them in place. Otherwise, you might get an open, and then the plug will start to turn and get stuck part of the way, and then you just got to kind of counter rotate a little bit and get those wafers lined up again. Now, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to get this open. It is not a very good tolerance lock, so like those wafers getting sideways and different problems like that. Now, I might get to a point and it makes sense to get maybe a flatter hook and get underneath some of these nubs and then lift up on them. And basically, okay, so that first one is springy, so I know that's nothing. But this second one on the right is not springy, it's kind of binding. So I push up on that and we get open. So it's always looking for those springy ones, and yeah, that's way open. And I couldn't push on the top area. I had to go underneath the nubs to work with that one. So that's a lot of talking, and this is like, I have no idea how to get this apart, but there, it's open. Oh, actually, there's a Phillips head screw in there. All right, let's turn on focus and get it to focus in the middle. All right, let's I have no tools down here. Not even well, I have a ton of Allen keys. I'm gonna run upstairs and grab a screwdriver, so I'll fast forward this a little bit. All right, brought back a bunch of different little tools. Don't know if I need any of them. What I do need is a Phillips screwdriver, which is the one thing I did not, it should be in this box, but for me it's not. So hopefully it's not in there too tight. And I can use a precision one. I bet you it's in there. Oh, it's not too tight. Very, very loose. Maybe I unscrewed it before. I've had this lock for a long time. All right, there we go. Oh, we should probably lock it up too. Okay, now it doesn't want to lock up. Now they took that screw out. Oh, probably because this shackle's all the way out. It's probably yeah, it's key retaining. So we won't be able to lock it with the shackle popped open. So now they took that screw out. Maybe I would think that somehow this bottom area could drop out. We might not be able to gut this. I'm gonna try pushing down on. Oh, there we go. Okay, I pushed down in that area with the screwdriver. Got it to come out a little bit further. Yeah, a little further. Oh, there's the shackle. All right, bits are falling out. So this ball bearing is probably to hold the shackle in right here is my guess, right? So that the shackle can't come all the way out. So that would go, that shackle would be in this area. And I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Anyways, I got where this ball bearing goes in here. Let's see. When this is closed, there should be this bit here. Okay, so that goes on there. And it looks like this ball bearing is for locking. I don't know which side it locks. Maybe it locks on this left side, not the. You'd think there'd be oh, I was gonna say, you'd think there's a second ball bearing. So both sides, right? It's locking both sides. And that's also, this side is retaining the shackle for not letting it out. So that'd be like that, and you'd turn that and it'd lock it there. And that'd stop that from coming out. And then you unlock it like this, would take the ball bearings out of the way. So, and then there's this little thing which is in here, the nut, and that's what the screw is going in to retain all this. All right, that out the way. Let's look at the core. All right, so here's the core. Just want to make note of the direction, and we can lock it back up by turning that. But since it is unlocked, it looks like there is a wafer right there that maybe we can push down, and that will allow the plug to come out. All right, I got under there, and see if I can now push the plug down. You know, before I do that, I'm gonna lock this up and use the key. This should hopefully stop wafers from shooting out everywhere, is my guess. Now it doesn't come out because I think that's like a retaining wafer right there. Let me see if I can. it only goes 90 degrees. I don't know if that thing's stopping or what's stopping it. But if I push down on this wafer here, I can indeed push it down, and you know, I don't know if that will stay all the way back, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can introduce a shim to keep that that wafer down that I just pushed down, to keep it down all the way out. Okay, so far so good. We got this out. Now I definitely have never taken this apart because I would remember some of this. I don't remember this at all. So there's that wafer that was keeping the plug in, is this wafer right here. And some reason I can't push it down at all. Oh, there we go. It was just popped out a little. So I can push that down, and that's that back wafer. So that back wafer is not, and the key is holding all the other wafers in. So this back wafer here is not part of the locking mechanism. It's just for retaining the plug. So that's that back one there. And it's got a spring up here like that. Then each of these wafers, I probably don't want to take them all out, so I'm just going to take out the last set here. Every once in a while there should be some that don't move, I think. Either okay, I think I see what I felt when I was picking it. I would pick on the wafers here, and then I would pick on these wafers, and then here I would feel this solid bar, and that's the one I said you can't push up on. So that solid bar is not a spacer, it's just part of the plug, and then this solid bar here is what I felt. But here you see there's no solid bar, so I was able to lift the pick all the way up in those areas. So it looks like there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 wafers in here. I didn't notice half of them. I just pushed up anything that felt like it's binding, and it got loose enough tolerances, it just kind of went into place. Hopefully, yes, good. I have a tweezer. And pull it out a little bit more. It needs to clear the tip of the key. Come on. It's still stuck. All right, there we go. All right, so these two wafers here, let me put this here. The back wafer, back two wafers here. Okay, so they're sandwiched together like this, and you can see the two nubs pointing inward, and so that's what the key will interact with. The key will lift up on these nubs, and they're going to be pushed upward by the springs. In my case, they were being pushed downward because I had the lock upside down from this, right? So the springs are going to push on these pieces on the edges there, and these nubs are what you're going to move up and down, and you're going to need to get the wafers to not drop above or below this plug. See how there's some of them are sticking out? By them sticking out, there's these channels in here, and that's going to stop this from rotating until this thing is perfectly round by those being sucked into the plug at the right height. So if I push this key in, you see it sucks all those wafers down to the right height, and that will allow this to rotate in the cylinder. So I got these two, and there should be a spring on the left and right side. Yep. So you see the spring on the right and left side, and then you put this down as a pair like that, which I can't do right now because the key is blocking. So pull the key back far enough to allow that. Now you can pull this key all the way out, and all the wafers are trying to pop out the top. So no need to worry things popping out the bottom, but you want to identify which side, the spring side. If you did this upside down, all the wafers would fall out and you'd be sad. So there we go, there's that. Let's get this back piece back in here. And that wafer. So you see this one has no inner nub, so you can't lift it up or down, and that goes in there. And I think this is meant to be like once you put it together, you're not supposed to ever be able to take it apart. You can see that recessed area there. That's where this little thing will pop up in. Looks like I don't need a shim for this after all, but that was just cautionary. And if you slide that down, that wafer pops up at the back there. There we go, popped up at the back. and now the plug is retained. It won't come out again. So that's back together. Now figuring this part out, it turns left and right like that, and load this up into here. It shouldn't really matter. Oh no, it does matter. Or does it? Which way is left, which way is right? I don't think it matters too much. Let's see. So that would be unlocked. No, that'd be locked. The ball bearings will drop into these holes when it's unlocked. So it doesn't seem like it matters if it's this way or if it's this way around. I don't remember which way it was around, so I'll just put it that way. That will go on there like that. To put everything back in, it probably needs to be unlocked. So there's unlocked. I'm gonna put this shackle in. No, we can't put the shackle in. You gotta have these two ball bearings in here like this. You gotta have the nut in here like this. Zoom out a little. And then you gotta do your little balancing act. It seems like. So all that's like that. You want to reintroduce the top here. It looks like, if you look down there, the bottom is where the screw would go and be guided. So it looks like it goes this way around, if I were to guess. Like so. Hopefully those ball bearings didn't go anywhere. And then this would come down like this. And you should be able to push it the rest of the way. Unless I lost a ball bearing. There's gotta be a better way to assemble it. I didn't lose the ball bearings. So, not 100% sure. Maybe you can't balance them like this. Maybe these ball bearings, you have to put them in here. So if I'm like this and I'm trying to keep one ball bearing down on that side while one ball bearing's up on the top side, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put some like grease or some lube in there that will make things stay, so that I don't have to try to push the two ball bearings apart. But let's see. What we need to do is get this guy down in there and those two ball bearings pushed apart. So let's put this down in the middle and see if I can use gravity on the left side, gravity on the right. There we go. So that's down there, and that's now in the unlocked position. And we need to get this in the unlocked position to line up. Okay, so I can see the two half moons will line up if I slide this in like this. There we go. Locked. Unlocked, and the last thing is to drop our screw down there and screw back in. So you want to test all your functionality before you screw this in and then lock it, right? So I already tested it all, and we're back to having a working lock. So long video for a fairly simple lock, but I showed how to take it apart and put it back together. I wasn't expecting to do that because I didn't know it could be taken apart. Thanks everyone, bye.